scam or a failed project? Did this team of Saitama investors have malicious intentions, or were they just another victim of the bear market? I'll share what I personally think a little later. During the course of this video, I want you to form your own opinion, because the truth is we will never know. And at this point, it's just a bunch of he said, she said drama on Twitter with a little bit of blockchain evidence that isn't really conclusive. Halfway through this video, I wanted to stop because I personally despise that little soy boy of a CEO Terareum has in Milton. And it feels like I'm honestly beating a dead horse. But I decided to finish this video because it's just a big lesson we need to learn in DeFi. You see, we don't really learn any lessons when we just keep winning, right? The best lessons are always taught when we lose, and a lot of people lost badly on this one. I want you to keep in mind that I'm not bashing any of the influencers that I mentioned in this video. I've been there, done that, and got the t-shirt many, many times. The truth is, influencers are just like billboards. We get paid to talk about projects. Now, some people are a little more honest than others, right? But no one can predict the future. None of us can control what these devs do. There's a few good devs out there, but in the meme coin world, they're mostly scumbags. And the Terareum devs are no exception. Every single one of these dweebs are scumbags. But before I get to today's current events and drama with Terareum, we have to understand where Terareum came from. So let's take a trip down memory lane and see how the hell we got here. Okay, so the original dev team of Terareum consisted of Milton, Dr. Willem, Dr. Praveen, and of course, Dr. Ramana. Now recently, Dr. Ramana was replaced by this guy because of some sort of issue with him owing Dr. P money and selling tokens and all kind of crazy allegations and those sorts of things. Those were the original four guys. Now at a glance, they seem like professionals, right? They're all doctors. Milton's allegedly a pilot. But a big red flag should have been that these guys were all Saitama investors. Now, one side of the argument is, hey, they saw Saitama overpromising, underdelivering, and they wanted to do something bigger and better than Saitama. They actually care about the DeFi space. But the other side of the argument is, yeah, they saw Saitama, but the side they saw was the fact that those guys were making bags and bags of money, hand over fist, right? And taking advantage of the DeFi cryptocurrency craze. So they also wanted to get their piece of the cryptocurrency craze. Now, I first heard about Terareum from Ryan Patrick. Now, I believe that Ryan Patrick was originally supposed to be their main influencer, but something didn't work out with pay or something like that. So Ryan didn't accept the job, right? Now, who did accept the job was Awesome Austin. Now, Awesome Austin, as a lot of you guys know, is one of my really good friends in the space. Obviously, I knew Austin before he, partnered with Terareum because of Shibnobi and Saitama. But I remember one night, after Awesome Austin became an ambassador for Terareum, he came into one of my streams and told me about it. And let me tell you, the Terareum presale was one of the best presales, and I think the best presale I can remember. I mean, if you put into that presale, you made so much money. That thing went absolutely parabolic, to the dismay of the Saitama faithful. Now, let me get into that because that really explains a lot, and I think was a big reason why this project had a lot of success. So at the time, there was a big divide in our communities, right? Between people that believed in Terareum and people that believed in Saitama. And few people were in the middle. Now, I was on the Terareum side, mostly because of my disdain for Saitama. And honestly, it was fun to troll the Saitama dweebs because they were mad about a new project coming into the space and stealing all the shine, because that's what Terareum did. They stole all the shine. These four Saitama investors, right, went from investing in Saitama to building their own project that was getting a lot of attention, right? Because the hype in Saitama had pretty much started to die down at that point. And that's when I became Team Terareum, mostly as a troll job, but really I thought this project could be actually pretty good. Like I said before, on paper, these guys look like a bunch of professionals. Like, why would they ever make a project to scam the community? Now, the second major red flag that myself and everybody else kind of just, glossed over was the fact that Dr. P had 108 separate wallets bought into the pre-sale, all filled for 10 ETH each. Now, the only reason why we knew about this was because Faltron brought it to light. And I remember Awesome Austin making this post back in February saying, hey, Saitama Guru, which is Russ, the COO of Saitama, says, the only way for Faltron to know that 108 wallets in Terareum was Dr. P's was from you, dude. Dr. P said he gave you his wallet address to prove to you that he wasn't selling. That's dirty, dude. How do people support this? Now remember, Dr. P held tens of millions of dollars in Saitama and didn't really sell until they wanted to fund Terareum. Now, the argument was that the reason why Dr. P bought 110 separate wallets was that he wanted to hold the ground floor for liquidity so the rug couldn't be pulled by the community. community, which, ended up happening anyways. But that was the argument. But there was a pre-sale that I don't believe had a limit before these, right? Before this actually went public to everybody else. Because the public one, the one we got like the second pre-sale, right, was for like the normies like us, where the max was, 10 ETH per wallet. But before that, there was a pre-sale that there was no cap, especially for the dev team. Now, the reasoning where Dr. P didn't get on that was because he came late to the team or something like that. But to me, that was a red flag. And it really doesn't matter how we got this information. The fact is, we heard about this from Feltron and the Saitama goons before Dr. P told us. And then Dr. P came out and gave his reasoning, right? Which it made sense to a lot of people. Regardless, I was happy that this information was put out there. And I even expressed this at the time because this is something we needed to know about. Too bad it had to come from the Saitama goons. Now, Dr. P is an interesting character, right? I mean, this guy is obviously part of the dev team and he gets the same amount of blame that Milton does, right? He's ride or dying with Milton. He's been a part of this team since day one. He doesn't get a pass, but he is nice, kind, articulate, but it doesn't mean he's not deceiving the community. And that's what I really think is going on. Now, this guy has been nothing but nice to me, shown support during the Saitama drama, and even when I was beefing with Terareum, but he still doesn't get a pass. Okay, so then the TERA token launches. And let me tell you something. When I say this thing went parabolic, this thing went absolutely parabolic. Everybody was making money. Everybody's happy. This new fresh project on the scene with 4 devs who are professionals, pilots, and doctors. They're launching the centralized exchange token that's going to be done in 6 months. And it's just all good news. But then the dreaded Binance listing happened. This to me was the third and final red flag with this project that I just could not wrap my head around. Now, before the announcement, Milton posted this picture saying when Lambo, with of course the Lambo with the Binance colors, and everyone started to assume that there was some sort of Binance listing. Now, before the official announcement came from the actual Binance.us, account, it came from Milton. Now, there's a problem with that because in the cryptocurrency world, you cannot announce exchange listings before the exchange does because there's all sorts of insider trading and those sort of things. In fact, especially with Binance, if you do that, you void the entire agreement. But Miltits went ahead and posted this on his Twitter page. And you can see right here, let me move my face here. It says, "Hey Milton, congratulations. We're glad to inform you that our review coordinators are comfortable with your design and your project, Terareum. Token has been confirmed to be listed on Binance US." Now, myself and everybody else, we look like a bunch of clowns with pies on our face because we were live streaming. Everybody was hyped. The price was absolutely spiking. All the while, Feltron and the Saitama goons are saying, that's a fake listing. That email is fake. Now, at the time, I was like, there's no way in hell these 4 guys would blatantly lie about a Binance listing. There has to be more to the story. There's no way the Saitama guys are right about this. There's no way that 3 doctors and 1 pilot, which, look, those are insane professions. You have to be very conscientious, intelligent to get to, it doesn't matter what country they're from, right? It's a lot of hard work to get to where they're at. There's no way these 4 guys lacked the insight to post something about Binance before it was actually approved. Remember, if you announce an exchange listing before the exchange announces it, it completely voids the agreement. And Binance makes that very, very clear. So regardless if they got listed or not, Milton went ahead and told the community that they were getting listed, even though Binance never announced it yet. Or get scammed. Because in my head, I'm like, hey, they either got Nigerian princed or India scam call centered. Now, while myself and Terareum people and the Saitama people were literally having a huge mosh pit on Twitter for 24 hours, these guys went radio silent. They left the listing post up. All the while, Binance US is replying to their message saying, hey, this is not us, this is fake, right? All the while, there's a lot of confusion. We don't know what's going on. So they wait 24 hours to have an emergency live stream the next day to tell us that they were scammed by Binance executives. Bolt Stoneface on an AMA told us that they were talking with somebody up in Binance US and they sent them $180,000 and they got scammed by Binance. In fact, they told us that they were going to pursue legal action against Binance. They said, you'll be hearing from my lawyers. Now, right there, I was like, okay, this is bullshit. Either they got scammed or they're scammed us. That's the only 2 options. Because I know for damn sure Binance doesn't care about $180,000 risking their reputation for Terareum. Now, their evidence was they showed $180,000 on BSC scan going to a Binance hot wallet. Now, that could be for an exchange listing payment. That could also be you sending it to your Binance account. That doesn't prove anything. And it's been more than a year now. We haven't heard anything about this supposed lawsuit against Binance. So the fact that they were saying, right, that they got scammed by an actual Binance employee, when we know this is probably, if they got scammed, right, and they just make this whole shit up, right, if they got scammed, this is probably by someone else with bad intentions. Either way, it doesn't make sense for four professionals, right, to have the lack of insight to post something like this or get scammed by someone on the internet thinking that Binance US is going to reach out to them, because they were saying that Binance reached out to them because they were impressed with their project, when Binance doesn't do those sorts of things. Like Hotbit and Lbank do that kind of thing because all they cared about is volume. This was the final nail in the coffin. And I remember this is about a year ago, right, where I talked about it. And, I could not believe it. And the people that believed it, they're delusional, right? Delusional. Like even my friends in the space were believing it. They're eating that shit up, Austin believes. They were all like, yeah, man, maybe there's an excuse for it. But I was like, I cannot get past that. So I sold my bag. I told my audience that I sold my bag and we moved on. And I still make content about Terareum, but mostly like drama stuff and just kind of, all the BS going on within the community for views and those sorts of things. But I was completely out of this project after this incident. Like I said, none of it makes sense. There's no way that it makes sense to any reasonable person unless you're a maxi or working for them or something like that. All right, so now that you have an understanding of the beginnings of Terareum, these guys still push forward and continue to market and grow more. At one point they were paying Your Pop, Zach Humphreys, Austin, R.D. Price, right? Crypto Stacker, Austin Hilton. They weren't paying Ryan Patrick, but he was still talking about the project in a positive light. And let me tell you something, these guys are not cheap to pay for. So these guys are spending a fat bag on marketing. They pushed on, and a lot of the community forgot about the whole Binance thing, because the truth is people have such a short memory in DeFi, even when it's something as blatantly scammy as faking a Binance listing. Now, even though these guys continue to market, the project just never really caught on. The liquidity was slowly being dumped out of this project, whether that was devs or people not, just giving up on the project in general. Like no one really knows, but the project never really caught on. They stopped paying for influencers. There was this huge battle online between Milton and influencers, and it's getting really, really crazy. Now, Terareum did release a product, right, where they released their centralized exchange, and now I can't get to it because the website is down because the project is gone. It was super lackluster and just a terrible, terrible application. You could only use it if you lived in the UAE or in India, and a lot of their investors are Americans, so I don't know how that makes any sense, right? But there's a lot of rules and regulations you got to comply with if you're going to operate in the United States. And let me tell you something, these goons didn't want to do that. So in true meme coin fashion, right, they did what they could do to milk the entire community. After things didn't go so well with the V1 contract, they launched a V2 in true shitcoin fashion. They launched another cryptocurrency project in the middle of a bear market, right? After their project failed to deliver on so many ways that left a lot of their investors hanging, making a lot of their maxis and people that stuck by them through all the dumb stuff look like straight dummies, right? These guys are asking for 5,000 Ethereum, right, in the middle of a bear market for a new project called TerraPay. And you know where you're going to put that money at? You're going to put it in their own place, right? Their crowdfunding place called TERA Pool. So they have complete control over the liquidity. Sounds pretty scammy, doesn't it? But to me, the nerve to ask people for 5,000 ETH after you pretty much destroyed the trust of your community. And I'm talking about Milton here, right? You're talking crap to influencers online. You're not acting like a real CEO. This was absolutely insane. I get it, Miltits. You're a tough guy. I get it. But look, you're a CEO of a project. Why are you sitting on Twitter talking crap to people and going back and forth in Twitter threads? Are you 15? You know what I mean? What are you doing? You're a CEO of a company that's supposed to be taken serious. But maybe this wasn't a serious project from the beginning. So who cares what happens, right? So why do I say that? Although not all the blockchain evidence is conclusive, there is some pretty alarming details that need to be discussed, right? So Skywalker, big shout out to my friend in the space, big blockchain detective, one of the best in the space, and this guy has a bright future in DeFi. Notice that during the fake Binance listing, one of the wallets tied to the creation sold just about $1 million in Terareum tokens. Now, I think that was one of the team members. After they lied about the Binance listing, they used that pump to sell out, right? To make a bunch of money. Now, that's why they waited 24 hours to hop on an AMA and left the community in the dark, right? Another thing that happened, when they migrated from the V1 to the V2, there was a lot of money, about $1 million missing when they migrated. What happened to that liquidity? We don't know. I mean, was Terareum ever a serious project to begin with? These guys made so much money in this project, and all they've been telling us on Twitter that they've been working hard and those sort of things. What did they have to show for it? Now, really, what did they have to show for it? Really, what did you see besides a little interface that you could only be used, right, for a centralized exchange in the UAE and India? So it's not even a huge sample size of people who could test it out. What did you see from this project? Nothing. So did it even ever exist? Now, before I get into the most recent drama, my theory is, and I know this is crazy, a lot of people think this is crazy, I don't think these guys ever had a plan to make a good cryptocurrency project in the first place. I don't think so. I think that they saw what was going on with Saitama. They saw that they could make so much money just by saying they were going to do something and never doing it, and decided to take that route, right? A lot of people say, why would they waste their time, spending a year and a half, like talking about this project on Twitter and saying they're going to build a great centralized exchange? I'm like, what do you mean? Why would they do that? The money. Would you do it if you're making millions of dollars off the back of investors to just be a little active on Twitter, talk a little shit, and create a fake ass project? Yeah, seems that's a good deal. That's a nice salary to me, right? I know that's kind of crazy, but that's what I truly think. And what's interesting to me is seeing all the maxis like, Dr. Victor Pena and Ivy Blunt and all these people that were literally holding the balls of Terareum. Now, look, I don't knock you guys. Like, you guys have seen the light. Same thing happened with Saitama people. Same thing happened with Lily Finance people. I know I'm right. Yada, yada, yada. I'm just messing, But even these guys are starting to expose them. And what they're showing on their Twitters is, I'm not going to share any personal information because that's kind of crazy to me. I don't want to get sued or anything like that but these guys are doing it, right? What's crazy to me is that these guys are living an extravagant lifestyle, What's interesting about this cryptocurrency space is that some of these people in the community treat these devs like demigods. It's absolutely insane. They treat these guys like they sat down, shaking their hand, had a beer with them. They treat these guys like they went to high school together. They treat these guys like, I don't know, you've babysat their kids or something weird like that. It's crazy, the blind loyalty that these people give to these devs in the space, which is absolutely ridiculous. And thank God we're smart enough not to be that way, right? Because we were like that way the first maybe month we were in crypto, but Saitama taught me a very, very important lesson very, very quickly. So thank God we don't have that mentality. But when money's involved, people are a little stupid and a little crazy and can't really see the light until something like this happens, until Terareum, right, this is the V1 contract, has $500 in liquidity in it, until the V2 contract has $179 in liquidity, until the project is completely destroyed. Now they see the light. Okay, so now we fast forward, right? Terarium's done. This team is moving on to a new project called Quantum or something like that. In true, shitcoin fashion, they're launching another token after this one was successful. There's a lot of infighting between, the rest of the team and, of course, Dr. Ramana, right? Remember, this guy replaced him. Now, there's all sorts of accusations that Dr. Ramana dumped his tokens, and he owes, I guess, Dr. P $700,000, but none of that matters. It's like scammers scamming each other. Like, there's no honor amongst thieves. So I don't really care about all the infighting. I just care about what the hell is happening to everybody else and all the people left holding the bag. Now, shout out to Tequila Pete because he actually asked some interesting questions that the community deserves to know about. Like, one, where did the 398 ETH that ended up in Huobi go on 2023, right? This came from the deployer wallet to your wallet, right? This was liquidity. So why were there 40 airdrops of approximately 20 ETH also on 225 to brand new wallets with zero interactions and no historical association with Terra V1? This is 800 ETH, right? So a lot of the liquidity, right? Why did two of the new wallets with airdrops send 22.5 ETH to your wallet, right? For a total of 44.9 ETH. That happened on 5/13. And then they talk about, right, how they're seamlessly transitioning companies from Terareum, right, to now Quantum, right? So they're just switching up just like that. Very interesting questions, right? So again, shout out to Tequila Pete. I'll put a link to this in the description down below, just in case you want to read the entire post and dig a little more. And now the culmination of all this is Milton's explanation on Twitter, right? The grand finale, right? The sticking in the fork of Terareum and moving on to another shitcoin project to milk the community some more because they know what's up. They know the cryptocurrency market's going to start running again, and they know shitcoins are going to be in again, and they're probably going to make more money because people are probably still going to buy this project, which is insane. And Milton, in true dumbass fashion, is over on Twitter, literally acting like a tough guy and turning so many investors off. I don't know how this guy doesn't. No PR training, like nothing. You're the CEO of a company, and you can't even behave yourself on Twitter. Absolutely insane. And this is what he says. He's pretty much saying that it's all the community's fault. They sold the project. He says this. There you go. Here's proof of all the sales from April 12th. Terareum did not rug pull. The majority of holders exited their positions. Thank you all for not believing in the project. So it's your fault, right? My youngest daughter is the same age as Terareum. I don't remember carrying her or even spending time, as I was always working 16 hours, 17 hours, making calls, decisions, security checks. It's not just me, but my entire team, including Dr. P, the other guy, Artie Price, has spent 2 years building the systems and blockchain framework from scratch. When Romana was borrowing money from outside, buying villas in Dubai and cars, chilling, was targeting me behind my back, spreading false rumors, paying fudders to spam my tweets. Yeah, sure he was. Me, Varun, and Praveen were running behind DXB and European registrations for our Terareum. Now Romana has borrowed over 700,000, which is not returned yet. If returned, we can complete the blockchain in 3 months. So pretty much they're saying, oh, this is all Romana's fault. He needs to give us more money. This is crazy. He made 2 false accusations against me, shared my personal information with the public, sent out pictures of my family. I would like to say, bring it on. I'm right here. I was born and raised different. You just poked the wrong bull. I thank all the holders who held the floor. I thank you all for your support. It was a pleasure working for you. I be blunt. Dr. Romana has my passport details. If anyone wants to meet me, they have my address and you can come say hi. Pretty much just showing Dex tools with all the sales. This proves nothing. He gets some replies here, right? Of course, because Dr. Romana's like, dude, we were all allocated tokens as a team. Like, I just sold mine. I mean, if you're going to allocate tokens to the team members, it's like, what? You got to expect that maybe one of these guys may ditch the project down the road and sell. And then Milton goes, shut the fuck up, right? Just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And of course, now they have a new project called, like I said before, called Quantum, which is absolutely insane. And yeah, they're doing the dance again. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. What did you think of this video? I mean, it's an interesting story with this project. And, you know, the crazy thing is, like, we could see this coming from a mile away. After the Binance listing for me, it was kind of like I said before, it was kind of like my last kind of hurrah for Terareum, because there's no way I could get past that situation. And the entire year has just been just bunch of bullshit after bullshit after bullshit, excuse after excuse. And really, they only have themselves to blame for losing investors. It's not fudders. It's not anybody else. The truth is, right? The truth is, if your project is good, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter if your product is good and you're a good team and you're delivering, it's going to do well because you're delivering, right? It doesn't matter if people say anything bad about big brands like an iPhone or Android or whatever it is, right? On the computer all day. It doesn't matter how big their platform is. If the product is good and people know it's good, it's going to do well because it just is. Anyways, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so very much for watching. And for the love of God, do not buy this project unless you're going to pump and dump it. Anyways, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, guys. Peace.